Hi, everybody. I'm Chicago's psychic medium and intuitive consultant, Mel Dorr. Happy Thanksgiving. And you're probably wondering why I'm looking like this. I've got my apron on from New Orleans. And when I cook, I always have a towel over my shoulder. And the reason why is because if you have to wipe your hands, you have one on each shoulder and you got to wipe off something that, you've just washed. So it's just always handy and it saves on paper towels. So this would be on my left shoulder, hand wipe one, and on my right shoulder, drying off dishes and things because I clean as I go. So at the end of the day, when you're done, you don't have that big mess. So today, for Thanksgiving, as you all know, I love to cook. So I thought what I would do is make some bread pudding, and I filmed it in sequences, so you might get a little bored with the sequence. My kitchen is a mess. It's not a mess, it's just I've cooked so much in here. I didn't even shave today. I brushed my teeth, I combed my hair, but this is kind of what it's like for me on a holiday morning when I start my cooking. This morning, I just wet my hair, brushed my teeth, didn't even shave. It's a holiday morning, and I'm going to be making my holiday bread pudding. Now, I'm not a lover of bread pudding, but this I make with panettone. And panettone is an Italian Christmas kind of fruit cake. It looks like this, and I have a chocolate one, and I have a regular one. So it looks like this, and what I'm going to do, oops, let me get my knives here. You can tell you all that my kitchen is lived in, can't you? My husband is filming this and he's probably saying, yeah, I can tell too, Mel. Okay, this is a bread knife. So I'm just gonna cut this and I'll show you what the inside of it looks like. This is a chocolate one, I think. No, this is a regular one. See how nice that is? So in this bread pudding, you really don't need raisins because you've got the panettone. I think it's panettone. And I just slice it. And then we cut it in pieces like this. And I have a 13 by 9 baking pan, and I greased it. And then you just started putting the panettone in as follows. Can you get a shot of the bread pan? Or they can see the bread pan, right, Dad?
Yes, thank you.
You can talk. As I said, the reason I'm not dressed up is because I wanted this to look as real as possible. And boy, if I get any more real, whew, my face would stop an army this morning. Okay, and I'm gonna cut the rest of this up and I'll be back with y'all in just a second. So I have the panettone put in the pan and it looks like this. And then, I got a chocolate one and a regular one. Now these panettones will hold up really well. I had a bunch of them from last year and I left them in the original package and I stored them in the basement for almost a year, but they have to be stored cool and dry. So the one that's not chocolate, is actually from last year. And for your custard on this, you're just gonna make your custard and pour it right over. Now sometimes you can do it in a double bath, but I'm not gonna do that. You just pour it right over your panettone. So, excuse my hand, you all, but my hands are clean. All right, you want 2 cups of whole milk. You want 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, 8 grade A large eggs, 1 tablespoon pure vanilla extract, 1 tablespoon of pure almond extract. Now make sure that you get the pure extracts. You don't want the imitation because that stuff's nasty. And a cup or cup and a quarter of sugar, and the piece de resistance, a little bit of Amoretto. All right. So here's the custard all mixed up. I tasted it. Oh my goodness. It is just to die for. It's so good. You're only going to do this, once or twice a year. I looked at this stuff and my arteries clogged, but it is really addictive. And what I did with the Amaretto, I like this brand. I've got my recipes sitting right here beside of me. But, I got a lot of these recipes for years, and I just added my own stuff to it. It's kind of easy. Now the next one I'm going to do is we're going to start with the sauce to go over this. So what you do is you pour this custard over your amaretto and you let it sit at room temperature for 1 hour. Again, you pour this over your panettone and you let it set for 1 hour at room temperature. So in a large saucepan, you're going to put 1/4 cup of amaretto, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of whole milk. Whole milk just means not skim milk. 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream, 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and you melt your butter and then you pour everything together. And then when it's coming to like a boil, you take it off the heat and you add a tablespoonful of almond extract and a tablespoonful of vanilla extract. So I'm going to put this on the stove and I'll show you what it looks like when we get it going. Okay. Hi everybody. This is what the bread pudding looks like when it's sitting in the custard. It's got about another half an hour to go. And meanwhile, over here with the pan, I've heated 1 stick of butter, and now I'm going to put all my other ingredients in. Oops, it's getting too hot there. These electric stoves really get hot pretty quick. And notice I'm using a wooden spoon. All right. We don't want it to get too hot. Here's 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay, here is 1/2 cup of whole milk, 1/2 cup of whipping cream. Your arteries will scream on this one, you all. That was 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Now I like dark brown sugar because dark brown sugar has more molasses in it, and I just think it's a much, much better flavor. And you gotta, gas stove is a lot easier to cook on. Electric, you'll burn everything if you're not careful. But, all right. And so I'm just gonna stir this up good until it gets nice and hot. Now it'll be thick. So what I do at the end is I take just a little bit of cornstarch and put in there. Oh, that black thing you see is a raisin floating around. A piece got in there from my panettone. Now, this stuff is, ooh, good, 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 you all. That was the amaretto. And I'm gonna bring this to the boil. And you gotta keep stirring because you wanna get everything all, let me get a spoon. This is a clean spoon, you all. And I'm just gonna taste it. Oh, is that good? What I've done is I've added a little bit of fresh nutmeg to it. I get the nutmeg, the round whole nutmeg, and just grate a little bit with a mini grater. Grate just a little bit in your mixture. And I did the same thing here on top of my bread pudding. And so we're just gonna tap that down a little bit. Yay. And just, woo, that's gonna be good. Now I've tasted this and it's really, really good. So what I've done over here is I've taken some cornstarch and put a little bit more amaretto in there. And I'm gonna pour that in here, and that's gonna make this thicken. Now what you wanna do when you put your cornstarch in there is you wanna make sure that you mix that separately, like 1/2 tablespoonful with amaretto. Because you wanna mix it really good. Because if you just pour that cornstarch in here, guess what? You're gonna get lumps, and we don't want lumpy sauce. So that's pretty much all there is to it. And I'm just gonna stir this till it gets thick. So I've taken the bread pudding out of the oven. I left it in at 350 for about 40 minutes. And then remember, when you take it out, it will continue to cook. So see how nice and crispy the sides are? That's what you want. Let it set, as I said, about 20-25 minutes before you cut it. And then you take that sauce that we made and you pour just a touch of that over your piece of bread pudding, and you'll take whipped cream and put on there. I'll make the whipped cream in my next video, and so you'll see how that's done as well. Now that sauce that we made, because it's got butter in it, it will separate a little bit, but all you got to do is shake it up, put it in the microwave if it gets too cool for about, 15-20 seconds. And boy, with the whipped cream, you put the sauce on first, a little dollop of that whipped cream, and oh my goodness. And now for the final stage in the bread pudding, I'm going to make the whipping cream. So over here, I have got a half a tablespoon of almond extract, a tablespoon of pure vanilla extract, 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, and about 1/3 cup of sugar. My bowl is bent, you all. I don't know how I did that. I've had this for years. It belonged to my mom. And a lot of the utensils that I've been using today, some belong to Gary's mother, some belong to my mother. But I always like to use them at the holidays because it's sentimental. Anyway, over here is my shrimp. That's about 5 pounds of jumbo shrimp that I'm going to take to my cousins today. And I made the shrimp cocktail sauce, but we'll talk about that in a later video. So I'm going to mix all of these together and then whip the whipped cream with a hand mixer. I won't film that because it'll be too loud. But you'll want to whip this until the whipped cream forms peaks. And so let's get that done and I'll be back. So here's the whipped cream. You can see I've whipped it. It's stiff, and here is the finished product. Ooh, it doesn't look good. And there's where I put the sauce that I made, you all. You can put it in a mason jar and see it'll separate a little bit, but all you gotta do is shake it a little bit and then put it in the microwave and it'll be just as good as new. Trivia question, whoever answers this first in the comments section wins a half-hour free session, Thanksgiving free session. What happens to whipped cream if you beat it too long? What happens to it? All right, you can't go on the internet, don't cheat. But I'm so happy to have shared this with you all. And from our house to yours, happy Thanksgiving, and we send our love. And here's my taste tester, my husband. He looks as bad as I do today. He's been helping me in the kitchen. Oh, well, nobody could look as bad as I could. And there's Lucky Dog in the background. So now, honest opinion, Gary, what do you think? Oh, let him get that in his mouth.
Very good.
Now, coming from Gary, that means a lot. Would you say it's delicious?
It's very good.
Oh, so that means it's not delicious?
It's delicious.
Oh, thank you. When I took it out of the oven, he said it needs to cook a little bit more, and I said it'll continue to cook. So is it done to your liking now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? I don't think he's going to save a bite for me, but...
It's very good.
Yay!
I'm starving.
Oh, well, we're going to eat at 4 o'clock. All right, you all. Love from all of us, and watch Gary just munch down on that wonderful stuff. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.